What's a good movie? Naked Lunch, but then it had to be. I've never seen the movie, but the book is one of the funniest novels I've ever read, many times over. Here's an excerpt. Dr. Benway is operating in an auditorium filled with students. Now, boys, you won't see this operation performed very often, and there's a reason for that. You see, it has absolutely no medical value. No one knows what the purpose of it originally was, or if it had a purpose at all. Personally, I think it was a pure artistic creation from the beginning. Just as a bullfighter with his skill and knowledge extricates himself from danger he has himself invoked, so in this operation the surgeon deliberately endangers his patient, and then, with incredible speed and celerity, rescues him from death at the last possible split second. Did any of you ever see Dr. Tetrazzini perform? I say perform advisedly because his operations were performances. He would start by throwing a scalpel across the room into the patient and then make his entrance like a ballet dancer. His speed was incredible. I don't give them time to die, he would say. Tumors put him in a frenzy of rage. Fing undisciplined cells, he would snarl, advancing on the tumor like a knife fighter. A lot of people are talking about buying the book based on this passage. The entire book is not like this. There's a lot of X, drug use, shock value, and general flow from one subject to an entirely different one a paragraph later. I recommend the book, but it's not for everyone. I think Dr. Benway is legitimately one of the scariest characters in fiction. After reading the book, I had nightmares about him for months. I deplore brutality. It's inefficient. Dr. Benway, I made the mistake of listening to this on tape whilst driving. When Burroughs read, he would start by throwing a scalpel across the room into the patient. I almost crashed my car. I was laughing so hard. When I was 9, we moved into a house. The previous tenants had left some VHS tapes. This was 98, and one was labeled The Wizard of Oz. So we put it in to watch while my mom went and did whatever mom did back then. Turns out, they had taped over Wizard of Oz with threads. I watched it with my 8-year-old sister and it totally d us up. I couldn't understand why mankind would have such horrible things that could cause such horrible pain. It baffled me, and I'm pretty sure that it is my first recollection of true anxiety. Damn. I can't even watch this movie as an adult. That sounds beyond traumatizing for an 8-year-old. This is a movie that scared the absolute out of me. Like I was legitimately terrified. And to think the sword of Damocles hangs over our head to this day. I don't even think I could bring myself to watch it twice, especially today when that it back on the table. Realistically, I don't think it'll ever really be off the table. Requiem for a Dream. The movie starts effed up and goes into a complete whirlwind from then. I'm gonna be on television. We've got a winner. I'm gonna wear my red dress. Snowtown. It's a depiction of one of the most prolific serial killers in Australian history. It's very visceral. It all feels very real when you watch it. The road. The basement scene is so messed up. I want to watch it again, but it's so sad. Thank you for the awards, very generous. Nothing like bleak despair and a parent's love to bring us together. I remember telling my husband I wanted to watch a comedy or something light, and he put this movie on. Cannibals are light-hearted, right? Your husband sounds hilarious. Dude. The part where they catch the mom and her kid in the truck cage messed me up. Made me wonder what I'd do if it were me and my kid, and I'd probably put my kid down before we get back to the farm. It's the best call in that scenario. Just the bleakest possible outcomes from start to finish with that film. In the book, the man is constantly checking how many bullets are left in his gun and becomes visibly upset when he only has one bullet left. Because he knows he can shoot himself or his kid, but not both. Doesn't he have 2 bullets until he uses one early on against the raider that caught the boy? I think I remember him being upset when he's forced to use one. Should be top. I never knew a movie could be traumatizing until I saw this movie. Straight puts you in a bad mood. Should have a warning on it. It's not even the most brutal stuff I've seen. It just makes it so horrifyingly real, like this honest to God happened and most got away with it. So many anti-war films aren't really anti-war. They glorify aspects a lot of it and push a message of, it was hell but also kinda awesome. Come and See is truly effing horrific and really just shows the terror and complete loss of humanity. It's a descent into hell and emo, the best movie about war ever made. I haven't seen anyone say, Nightcrawler, yet. This movie is straight up how a person with no empathy uses media desire for gore to enrich himself, and his lack of emotion regarding people is really effing creepy. Jake Gyllenhaal is very good at doing fake sociopath charisma. He brought a similar quality when he played Mysterio in the Spider-Man film. I still can't watch him in anything without my skin crawling. This movie is extremely tame compared to some of the movies I've seen recommended, but he does such a great job of being evil and sleazy it makes me want to take a scalding hot shower. Watch October Sky. It's extremely touching and wonderful. Makes you like him a lot. There's also The Day After Tomorrow and Source Code. Boot. If you want more creepy Jake Gyllenhaal, Donnie Darko is cool. Donnie Darko is a creepy movie, but I feel like Jake Gyllenhaal's character is a reasonably nice and relatable guy. That mirror breaking scene though. Apparently only the screaming was in the script and his breaking it was improvised. During the scene where Jake Gyllenhaal screams at himself in the mirror, Gyllenhaal got so into this improvised scene that the mirror broke, cutting his hand. He was driven to the hospital by the director after a 19-hour day of working and got 46 stitches in a 4-hour-long operation, returning to the set 6 hours after being discharged. This is the reason why Gyllenhaal had his hand behind his back in the scene where he tells the scrapyard owner his motto. Also, Prisoners is a great one featuring Gyllenhaal Zodiac as well. He really should have got an Oscar for Nightcrawler. I have no legs, I have no legs. The Deer Hunter. It's an emotional beating. And you only need to see it once. But it's a masterpiece. Gave me nightmares for a few days after I watched it. My dad died very suddenly when I was 11, and my mom was diagnosed with cancer a year after that. I remember going to the grocery store with her one day, and in the bargain DVD bin they had Deer Hunter. I asked my mom if I could get it, because it had Robert De Niro in it and I knew he was a good actor lol. She must have not even looked at the damn thing, because no way should she have let her 12-year-old see that. Definitely effed me up, but strangely it sort of helped me come to grips with what happened with my dad and my acceptance of what would eventually happen to my mom. I was dealing with emotions that I didn't really know how to process at that point. And I think it helped me understand grief, loss a little better. Perfect Blue. Grave of the Fireflies. Just off the top of my head. Perfect Blue is terrifying. It's insane how well it aged, especially with streamer and online culture. Grave of the Fireflies. For when you want to watch a WW2 movie, and Schindler's List is just a bit too cheerful and upbeat. My wife and daughter keep talking it up to me, and they have yet to give me a good reason to subject myself to that. We saw an anime about the aftermath of the bomb where a burned corpse was cradling her child and I think her arm fell off. I said, "Welp, that was effed up." They said it still wasn't as depressing as Grave of the Fireflies. It works as a character study slice of life during a horrific moments of lives. It's designed to resonate with the part of you that's human that says, this didn't have to happen, while you sit there understanding the character's motivations for why it did. For an animated feature, it works its medium very well. It's bleak, and I don't want to watch that again, so I get it. I saw Event Horizon in the theaters thinking it was just going to be a sci-fi suspense movie. I have no idea it was going to be a horror movie. I was shook for a few hours after that movie. Un Chien Andalou 1929, for all the film studies 101 folks out there. The Lighthouse. W. Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. This was filmed in my home province. My buddy got to meet Mr. Dafoe and now calls him Mr. DaFriend. Absolutely stunning performance by Willem Dafoe. The man's always done incredible work, yet this was a whole different level. Those long takes with pure dialogue, he nails every syllable, every facial expression, bam bam bam. Brilliant. Total pro.
Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.